So I've got my M113K swapped 560 SEC up on the hoist behind me at the moment. While I was up here, I was going to take the opportunity to do a bit of a tour underneath the car and give a rundown on everything that's going on under there. The reason I've got it up on the hoist is I've probably done about a kilometre or so of road running now, and just getting it up there to check over a few things like clean the fuel filter because I actually ran it out of fuel when I was first testing it, and yeah, just that was one issue, brakes, all those sorts of things. So yeah, I'll start from the front and run over all the different you know, components, engine, drivetrain, brakes, that sort of thing. So sorry about the light. I'm under the car now. I had to stop and flip the camera around so I could see what I was doing and get a bit of light happening here. At the very front is the air conditioning condenser sitting just behind the front bumper. And this is probably a good place to start with explaining this system. But it utilizes the receiver dryer above in the standard location, and then I'm now running a Denso compressor. This particular one is off a Kia Carnival. It is quite a popular Denso compressor, but it had the right amount of ribbed belts for the M113K engine. The manifold is changed. I don't know what that's off. But it needed to face backwards, and then all the hoses have been done custom, so you'll notice a few little leaks here and there. It really is a warts and all tour going on here, as I haven't given the car a proper detail as yet. Next is the steering cooler, inlet and outlet lines running back. Probably as good time as any to discuss the steering system in the car. So it is a rack and pinion conversion that was required straight away because the standard W126 steering box, usually living up here, was never going to work. So this is a W210 steering rack. It is utilizing the W210 standard mount, which bolts onto the cross member on the underside. And then also the steering rack, I have custom mounts that bolt onto the top or the back edge of the cross member on each side. Outboard of that, just grab another light. This is a Megan Racing tie rod end, fully adjustable from a Z32 300ZX. And then mounted to that is a custom steering bracket. This has gone through a few modifications and to get it right and working, and it's still a little bit of a work in progress. I don't know that this is going to be the final version. I might CNC cut a new one. So looking back this way, you'll see the shaft up the top that mounts onto the steering shaft, that mounts onto the rack, and a double universal joint and a bulkhead mounted bearing to support this shaft running back up to the steering column. So at a glance, that is the new steering system in the vehicle. So back to the front. Here forward is the heat exchanger for the watered air intercooler. This is the radiator. You'll see that it is standing up above a slightly, well, it's not slightly, 70 mil or so from the standard W126 radiator. This is a Mishimoto radiator. It is a triple pass. It is aluminium and it is slightly thicker than the W126 standard radiator. There is a 16-inch thermo fan on the rear. Moving over to the left-hand side of the car is the oil cooler, engine oil cooler, and it gets fed air through the, go around here, through the ducts. I made these aluminium ducts, but it uses the fog light holes, and there is a thermofan mounted on the front of that. You'll see the oil cooler lines running up here and here. I did use all AN fittings and hoses. You can buy adapter kits from companies like VRP Speed if you wanted to go that way. And over the other side, the right-hand side of the car, is the transmission oil cooler. Once again, all AN fittings and braided lines running back to the transmission there and there. And I fabricated some louvers to help try to protect the back of it from stone chips, etc. Once again, it is fed air through the fog light hole, and these aluminium ducts are trapping it and sending it to the cooler. So moving back again, this is not the original M113K S55 alternator. It is a smaller 120 amp or 140 amp version, I think, of a E-Class. You can see how tight the fit is up here to the chassis rail. The normal one was far too big a diameter, it fouled. Sorry, it is 140 amp, it says it there. And that was all a bolt-in fit. AC compressor, there's the AC compressor which I've explained before. You can see the LS engine mounts and my custom aluminium brackets to mount the engine mounts there. And we'll try and get a view of this one on the right hand side there. A part of me doing the headers was the fact that the brace between, these are, some people call them dog bones. I can't remember, they're truck rods, I can't remember, but I did fabricate a new stainless steel brace between the two of them. That's that there. Okay, so there's the forward S55 style M113K sump. You will also give you a view of the custom 4-into-1 long tube headers here. That should be part of the exhaust tour though, so I'll leave them. And here is the rear transmission plate. It is a bit of 5mm pressed steel. The mount is a creative steel, more solid mount than standard for the 72236 or NAG1 in the Chrysler Circles transmission. I'll keep going back with this driveline now. I'm utilising the S55 rod to the gear shift linkage, or rod I guess you'd say. This is the S55 drive shaft modified. It now has the flex discs or guybos or whatever you call them are now gone, and there is an adapter, and there is a uni joint in the front. In the middle, it retains the standard bearing housing. Can't see it through the exhaust. But it is a bigger diameter bearing on the S55, but it still manages to find a bearing to fit in the housing. And all the way to the rear, once again, uni joint adapter to go to the 4-bolt uni joint to the 3-bolt the W126 210mm differential. Okay, while we're back here, I will start explaining this. So this 210mm differential now has a wave track center. It is a 2.65:1 ratio LSD. One thing I was worried about was reducing the movement of the diff. All the diff and the subframe in the W126 is rubber mounted, and there is quite a lot of movement there. Will start to cause axle tramp and those sorts of things. So I fabricated some more solid poly differential mounts there, and then a big one at the back. Sorry, it is a little bit difficult to see. I've got a jack in the way here. And also, just put this down. The subframe now has Super Pro mounts at the front, which are poly again. And at the rear is, if I can try and get to it, directly up here, that is a poly mount, a poly mount of a Pontiac. It's actually off a car we built in Australia called a Holden Monaro, and it was rebadged as a Pontiac something in America. GTO, yeah, GTO, that's it. So that is a Pontiac GTO mount, a little modification, and it fits bolts onto the differential and the rear cross member. I should start at the fuel system while I'm back here, I guess. Sorry, all the uni joints been rebuilt, whole tire rear subframe has been rebuilt. It is one hell of a job. It does cost a lot of money in parts only. I did it myself, and it is expensive, and I would recommend not to do it if you don't have to do it. There is a lot involved with it, particularly in here where the bearings are. You will notice this compared to the American, this is a different rear end. It has this anti-squat device, which I don't think any of the US cars had. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments. So drive shafts, fuel system. So utilizing the standard pickup out of the tank, I have put a shut-off valve in because I have found it handy in the past, and I just used it to clean the filter 15 minutes ago. That is the fuel filter. Sorry, I'll need to move this jack out of the way. It's really okay. So here we go. So that is the fuel filter, the prime, and this is a Holly Blue style primary pump. It is pumping fuel to the passenger side, or the left-hand side where the kidney muffler used to live, a Aeroflow surge tank with twin 044 Bosch style pumps. It has a filter on the outlet of those two pumps. It runs 5/8 line all the way to the engine. So there's a 5/8 supply. There is a 3/8 return, and also what you are looking at there is the breather line for the fuel tank and a 6mm upgraded rear brake line. So that runs forward all the way up the top where it goes back to braided line, and it does go to a pressure regulator at the top. So that's the fuel system covered. Okay, exhaust system now. We have 1 3/4 inch primary headers on each side. They are a very tight fit. This side is okay. The left hand side, the driver's side, I'm in Australia. So on the right hand side, it is very tight, and they had to pass around the steering shaft. So they run back, utilizing the rear mount off the gearbox. Now it is twin 3-inch stainless steel, 2 crossover pipe, 2 hot dog type mufflers, still 3-inch. And then at the rear of the car, We have vertically mounted 2 mufflers, 3-inch in, 3-inch out, where the original W126 muffler lives, to a twin 3-inch outlet, which I unfortunately have already scratched the bottom of that on the tow truck. So that is the exhaust system. Plenty of shielding. There's a few bits and pieces need to repair still. Okay, onto the suspension. So this is a Bilstein IBAC B12 kit. So IBAC springs, Bilstein B12 shock absorbers, front and rear. And there's the underside. And also I am running a D-Cubus upgraded rear sway bar. You can see the rest of it connection up there. And I don't know if you'll see from underneath, but I will try. I don't think we'll see, but the front sway bar is now running Super Pro bushes there, and I had the hideous W126 issue with the end of the sway bar corroding, and I've done a custom setup now. I have thread tapped chopped the spigot, I guess you'd call it, off and tapped the sway bar, and I'm just running a bolt all the way through it now. On the brakes, so at the front I have cross drilled 350 or so mil discs, ventilated of course, and 6 piston calipers. These are provided by Sika. Quality looks awesome. Haven't really had a chance to test them out yet. And again, and at the rear, move the jack out of the way. At the rear we are running cross drilled and ventilated. I think the diameter of these is around 320 mil, and 4 piston calipers at the rear. I am running a brake proportioning valve. I will show you that in the engine bay tour of the car. And I will need to set that because I think I will have an issue with those locking up. Rear vehicle speed sensor, I guess you'd call it, running the Haltech. It is the ABS sensor, rear drivetrain sensor for the original ABS system. It will provide the vehicle speed to the Haltech computer. I do need to calibrate it still. So just walking back up to the front of the car to see if there's anything I have missed. I mean, I will, as I've just said, do a engine bay tour, I guess, where it will be possible to also see the rest of everything else going on from the front of this car. Well, there you go. I hope you enjoyed the tour. There she is under covers. And, you know, hope to be continuing doing some videos for you as I continue the testing and, you know, getting it going, dyno testing, see what she puts out, drag strip, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, I'll try and keep the videos coming if you guys want to see them. Cheers.